Hi, I'm Darshan Jayathilu. This is my second video regarding the VCAP deployment exam. I'm going to use one of the HOA. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about HA and cluster A. Okay. Okay. Basically, to configure the cluster, actually we need two ESX hosts. This is host 01, this is host 02, and we need shared storage. It could be either fiber channel, SCSI or NFS. Okay. Normally we are having at least two data stores. Okay, and all the hosts should have connectivity. As a best practice, we have to configure multipathing, which means redundant links. Okay. Okay. Now, when you are configuring the cluster, say we are configuring VM CLS01. This is my cluster name. Once we configure the cluster, we can add our ESX host to this cluster. When we are adding the cluster, one host will select as a master server. Okay. Normally, if we have, say, how it works is, if we have 4 data stores and this particular host 1 have access to all the data stores. We have 4 data stores, and but host 2 have access only to 3 data stores. Then host 1 will become the master server because it is have high number of data store connectivity. That's a normal theory. If you have 3 hosts, it's the same. Or else, when you are adding one node to the cluster, the first node will be the master server. Okay. In this example, okay, while it's logging, what is the advantage of the cluster HA? HA means in this scenario, 2 virtual machines are running on there and 2 virtual machines are running on there. In case of this host 2 failure, these 2 virtual machines which are running on the host 2 will be getting restarted on host 1. There's a downtime that less than 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah, it depends on your OS and OS configuration, but it will very quickly it will restart host 2 on the virtual machines on which are running on the host 2 using host 01, but we should have enough capacity. Therefore, there's option called admission control. I'll show that thing. Okay, this is the basic theory of the HA, high availability. Okay, then but some VMware users, they are thinking there's no downtime, but there should be downtime because we are restarting virtual machines when it's coming to the HA. To avoid that thing, if you want the zero downtime for the virtual machine, what we could do is we have to use the FT, fault tolerance, which means we are running same copy of the virtual machines on the second host with memory and all. It will sync the memory. There should be a separate network connection for the FT replication, and in case of a host failure, without having any memory loss, we can say it's zero memory loss, zero data loss, and zero downtime. Okay, we can use that virtual machines. It's FT, it's not HA. HA means high availability. Okay, here we have cluster. when just click on the configure, and there's a tab called WHP availability. Okay, now the HA is disabled. Okay, to enable the HA high availability, what I can do is click on the edit, enable HA. Okay, actually here, yeah, I'm using the 6.5, but for your exam it's 6.0. Okay, now HA is enabled. Okay, once you go to the monitor tab and just click on the HA. Okay, it will show you who is the master server, but it's still not there. Why? What's the reason? But the thing is, it's still updating that agents, HA agents. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now, master server is ESX02A. This is the master server. Okay. HA is configured. Okay. Here, when you come to configure tab, these are the HA settings. Okay, HA is enabled. Okay, what is admission control? We'll see. Here, admission control is disabled. Okay, we'll see. Okay, I'll get an example. I have two hosts and two data stores. I'll do only one path, but there should be two paths from one side. Okay, now I am adding virtual machines. Okay, sorry. Okay, this is the ESX01, ESX02. Okay, we'll take 3 hours. It's easy to show you the thing. Okay, this is ESX3. Here also I am adding some virtual machines. Okay, now the admission control is disabled. Okay, utilization of ESX1 is 80%, memory and CPU. Okay, utilization of the ESX2 also 80%, memory and CPU. Okay, 3 also 80%. Okay, now host 3 goes down. Okay, what we can do, all the memory and CPU configuration are same, then host 3 goes down. Okay, 80% of the load ESX3, which means if we take say if you have 256 GB memory as example, and 80% of out of that, which means 204 memory should be shared with ESX1 and ESX2. Can we do that? We can't do that because ESX1 and ESX2 also 80% utilized. Then what we can do? Some virtual machines may getting fail to start. That's why we have to use the admission control. Using admission control, what I can do is okay, here it's disabled. What I can do is, if we click on cluster resource percentage, this is the best option. I think there's option called host failure cluster rate. Okay, in this scenario we are expecting a single node host failure. which means it will keep some, it will reserve some memory and CPU power for host failure. Okay, or else we can define, okay, for this scenario what we can do is we can define uh, if we have 3 hosts, what we can do is we can define failure capacity, say 40%, memory 40%. We'll keep 40% CPU and we'll keep 40% memory for the failover. That's a good idea. Also, if you have enough host, we can configure dedicated host. For normal operation, it won't come into the picture, which means it's the ideal host, but when it's coming to the HA scenario, it will take the load. It's a dedicated failover host. Or else there's an option called slot policy. The slot policy is defined as a memory and CPU resources that satisfy the reservation requirement for any powered on virtual machines in the cluster. Slot policy, there's 2 options: cover all powered on virtual machines. It will take the utilize memory and CPU, and it will keep some it's slot based. It will take maximum CPU and memory reservation for the VM, and it will keep some CPU and memory reserved for the failover. That option also there, but my suggestion is select this one and keep some percentage, or choose a dedicated host, or but the easiest way is select the cluster resource percentage. Okay, use this one, keep 1 or 2, it's dependent on your cluster. Normally when you are doing the designing part, say if we want 3 hosts, normally we are doing n plus. N plus means if we want 3 hosts for our virtual machine resource pool, which means to run our virtual machines we need 3 hosts. But when you are doing the designing part, we are normally giving solution in the 4 hosts, which means n plus. Okay. Then we can easily keep 1 host for failover. Okay. What is the data store heartbeat? Okay, here I have a note, I will share with this one. Okay, this is the admission control. I have showed all the options. Okay, data store heartbeat is, here I have mentioned, when the master server cannot reach slave host over the management network, master will be used data store heartbeat to check the availability of the slave host. Okay, when the master server having a problem with to connect to the slave server, what it can does is it will reach the slave host using through the data stores. Okay, to the data store it will write some files, using that it can reach it. Okay. 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 Here default option is when it's coming to the host failure, restart the VM. If we disable means it won't restart the VMs, it means HA is disabled. Okay, and as I told you, there's an option called response for host isolation. Host isolation means as example host 3, it cannot connect to the host 2 or host 1 through the network, which means host 3 is isolated. And in my note, there again network partition. In case of management network failure for HA cluster, some host might be unable to connect with other host over the management network. Then there's option Disable means no action will be taken on the affected VM, which are the VMs which are running on the host tree. It will running as it is. Okay. Then second option is shut down and restart the VM. All host will be gracefully shut down, systematically shut down the VMs and power on the any available host. And third option is power off and start VMs, restart VMs, which means just power of the VM, which means it's not a systematic process. There may be a data loss or VM corruption may be there, and but it's very quick. Okay. Okay. What is VM monitoring? Okay. VM monitoring resets individual virtual VMs if their VM tools heartbeats are not received. Okay. When you're installing VM, what we can do is we can install VMware tools inside. It's a separate software. Okay. With the VM monitoring means that host will try to connect VMware tools heartbeat. Okay. When that VMware tools it doesn't respond for the VMware tools heartbeat, that host will restart the virtual machine. Okay. If you have some critical application and we need to monitor it, we can use it. But some users doesn't like, because sometimes that VM is working properly but the VMware tools is not working properly. Then but that host doesn't identify that thing, that host try to restart the virtual machine. That's the thing. Okay. If you like, we can do it. Isolation time duration for that. If it is a master host, the host is master, it's a 5 second. The client, that slave host, it's a 30 second. Okay. Say ESX3 it can't reach other hosts. Okay, then that's host isolation. Okay, normally then it will try to ping to that isolation address. As a default isolation address, it will take our default gateway. But if our default gateway doesn't have high availability and it's not a reliable thing, then we can use multiple host isolation addresses. We can use up to 10 isolation addresses. That in the our exam, that materials, I mean that learning requirements, we should learn host isolation addresses. Okay, say if you have two reliable addresses, network addresses, say 172.20.20.20 and 172.20.20.21. Okay, we need to add it to the host isolation address. What we can do is just go to the configure, edit, add-ons option, add dash 0 172.20.20.20. Okay. Add a second address, one 2020-21. Okay, then there's one more parameter, yes, use default isolation address false. Okay, will it work? No. What we have to do is just disable the HA, re-enable it, then only it will work. Okay, still not updated. No, it's two. Okay, okay, it's saying when you commit the configuration is issued, it's saying HA agent on cluster cannot reach isolation address. It's actually I just put two IP addresses. If we have real IP addresses, it will ping and it will clear these alarms. Okay, but this is the thing what we have to use and how to use that host isolation addresses. Okay, that's about the basic configuration of the HA. In next video we'll discuss DRAs and host group roles and all the things. Okay. Yes. In the monitor tab we can see the overall performance and all the tasks regarding the HA.